Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Backstage Pass. I'm Samantha Powell, and that is my favorite co-host, Ben Bernard. Ben, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, yeah, really well. It's I can't believe it's coming up to the holiday season already. You know, looking forward to some time off, spend some time with the family, getting all geared up for ISE, of course, which will be around the corner. But yeah, generally doing well. How about you?
I'm doing so good. It's starting to get a little warmer here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's been cold for a couple of days, so it's definitely starting to feel like Christmas. But I'm so excited for the holidays. And as you said, yeah, getting ready for ISE. It's around the corner. So what do you have planned for the holidays?
So it's pretty low key. Go to my parents, spend time with my siblings on Christmas Day. Everyone's got their own kind of extended families as well. So, you know, Christmas Day, you never know where people are going to be. But then the day after, which in the UK we traditionally call Boxing Day, everyone usually gets back together. So there's usually a lot of more eating, drinking, games, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm preparing myself. It's as close as we get to Thanksgiving, I think, in the UK. So yeah, that's what we're doing. How about you? What's the traditional order of things over where you are?
Yeah, so I think it'll be a pretty low-key, quiet Christmas for me. I'm going to go head down to my folks' place and just spend the day with them. I've got my 2 young nephews coming, so
Nice.
one of them is just so obsessed with Sonic. I don't know if you're familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog. And what's the other one? It's Sonic and what's the other
Tails?
one's name? Is it something like that? I think
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
It has the tails that make it fly. It's like red, right? I think.
So yeah. So I've got to go get some presents for them. But yeah, that's always the best part, right? Having the young ones there to open up the presents, because you know, us old people were like, okay, well, we're ready just to eat and drink and watch some football. But but no, I think it's going to be a really great holiday.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it's going to be great. Speaking of great things, what have we got coming up on the show today?
So we have another great show for you today. We've got Juan José Vila with Bike Fest, and he's part of the group that organizes that wonderful event. And he's really going to be chatting with our friend Mark about the flash flooding that unfortunately happened in Spain and really hit hard Valencia, where he's from. So he's going to be talking a little bit about what some of the funds that they raise, how that's going to go to help some of those flooding victims there.
Yeah, same. And yeah, obviously it was a real tragedy that happened. But fantastic that Bike Fest can contribute. As you say, I think 50% of all the funds raised are going to go to helping those victims. So that's absolutely fantastic. A really great initiative. And I gather we'll also be hearing from our colleague and friend Noreen, who's going to be speaking with Laura Frank, who's done a lot around the live music and touring, lighting and all that kind of stuff, but is now also very involved with the AI side of things. So yeah, a couple of really interesting interviews. Why don't we take a look?
Let's do that.
Well, I'm here with Juan José Vila. He is based in Valencia, and we're going to be talking about kind of a challenging subject today, the floods in Valencia. Huge devastation to that part of the world, and Juan is on the ground, going to give us an update on a little bit of the recovery efforts, but also talk about the ways that the Pro AV community can be supporting the city of Valencia, obviously right down the road from Barcelona, where we'll all be for ISE here real soon. So, Juanjo, thank you so much for taking the time to join me this morning.
Well, thank you, Mark, to you to give us visibility. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Let's start maybe first talking a little bit just about the events of the day and the days of the flooding. Talk to me, where were you located, and at what point did you begin to realize that this could be a really bad situation?
Well, we are located just 300 meters with the flood finished. So we have, the company, no? So we have been very lucky to don't have any damage, but my hometown is I'm from Catarroja, a small town that is totally devastated by this, and also my mother's hometown, which is the second half of my family, is based in Benetúser, which is the other. So from myself, where I grew, my father and my mother, all of my families and friends are in the zero zone.
Wow.
So well, yeah, it has been. I was in Madrid when it happened. I was in an event from the Lighting Designers Association, and when I started to have the heavy rain, I have started to receive news from my family, and it looks like that it could be a worse thing, but I couldn't imagine how worse will be later, no? So on the second 2 days, I was stuck in Madrid. I cannot travel because there was no way to travel. And then I was in contact very bad because the communications at that time was also devastated, and it was very difficult to get information from the zero zone. But I was trying to get all the information as much as I can. And then I was thinking, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I said, okay, I'm stuck in Madrid. What I'm going to do is to make all the noise possible to all my contacts, to all the people I know, using my social media network and trying to let the people know what is really happening, no? Because also when I saw the TVs didn't show the amount of devastation and desperation of the people, no? So I started to use the social media to let everybody know what is happening. And I think I got some success on this because, well, we are here talking, no? So, yeah.
Yeah, the pictures that you've been posting of just the devastation are just truly incredible. And I don't think, like to your point, when I saw the news, okay, there's flooding and things, it doesn't quite hit home. But then to see the personal, these were images that you were taking, you were posting. It was just unbelievable to see just cars lined in the streets and the power behind these things. Describe to me a little bit about the emotion that you felt when you were first on site. Then I'm sure it just had to be overwhelming to see all of the damage.
Well, as we are talking now, and you are reminding me all that moments, I start to refill all the emotions again. But yeah, the first thing is when I was in Madrid, that cannot still not arrived to the zero zone. It was when I saw the images and everything that I was getting. It was the kind of emotions was like all my home is destroyed, no? And when I get back and finally I could go to my hometown, and I couldn't stop crying. It was when we were during the day there, when you see somebody finally found each other and they give a hug each other, so you saw that the scene, and then you cry because that was part of your family, maybe your friend, or maybe people that you know that are your neighbors, and also. Then you arrive exhausted to home, full of water and everything, and totally dirty. You finally get a shower because you can, because the place where I live didn't have any problem, and then you go to bed exhausted, and then you start crying again, or you start to remind all the images, or you just think that you had a shower. And one of your best friends couldn't, no, because they live there, no. And also, it happened another thing that for example, I'm trying still to take my mother out of the city of my hometown, but she doesn't want to leave her home because she has a feeling that she has to stay there helping others, or just to stay there because what people cannot see from the news is during the nighttime. Because the army was not there and there was no security, so during that time, have you seen the movie The Purge?
I think yeah.
It was like this, and I could show it in person because one day I was in the nighttime bringing food to my mother, and what I saw you cannot believe. You can really not believe, no? So that was the first week. And then the amount of cars and things that you have seen in the picture. So yeah, you cannot see now, but behind me here there is when you want to destroy your car, there is a company that you can bring and you can you can give the car to because it's too old or whatever, no? But now they are bringing all the cars from the devastated zone. And you cannot see now because of the sunshine, but behind me, it's just full of cars, no? Totally destroyed. It's 120,000 cars destroyed. So you cannot believe in a small area, no? We saw that we are going to lose 38% of the economy here in Valencia will be destroyed because of this. In amount of money is more than 20,000 million. And this is nothing compared with the people that has passed away. No, for example, one of my best friends, his brother lost his wife and his kid, and there are 200 families, more than 200, almost 300 families that has a similar loss. No, so the thing is that today is already 25 days since the flood did happen. And I was yesterday, because I was going to see my mother. I just come from Asia, from a trip, and I was just going to see my mother, and I was there. And it's very slow. People now, in the first 2 weeks, people were, hey, we have to solve this. And all the people that lives there, they want to, they are just working for solve the problem. No? But now, 25 days later, and they see how slow is going to be the recovery, people start to have start to be desesperated. So they lost the strength they had in the beginning to solve it, no? And because we don't see that the administrations are doing much or all they can, that's the reason that many of us wanted to give a shout to the world to say, hey, with administration only we cannot solve this, so we need any kind of help. And then is where I start to see that I start to see that we need to do something. And then I was calling several charity entities, telling that, hey, some people from outside are telling me how they can donate. Do you have a way to donate by credit card or whatever from people out of Spain? And they say no, they are overwhelmed about the amount of things they have to do, and they cannot make a platform. And there was another entity that I cooperate with. They are fighting for cancer, but they are from Valencia, and they say, hey Juan, we are here. We can move all our resources to help people in Valencia. How we can help? And say, okay, so you can help me making the online platform for the credit card, and then we will give all the funds to one of the charities that are helping people. And that was for the urgency that I need some entity that collect donations from all my friends and give to another entity that is the charity that we are cooperating with, no? Which is a charity that helps families, and their scope is to help families in this tragedy. And then I start to receive also, because I am still the president of the Manufacturers and Importers Spanish Local Association of AV Technology. I'm also a volunteer of AVIXA for a very long time, and I'm still is. And I was thinking that we should do, after the urgency to help the families, we should do something with all the companies from the AV industry that are being destroyed. And then I create the platform AV for Valencia, which is, you can see all the information on avforvalencia.org. And what I'm trying to do is to try to receive donations from companies or individuals that want to help to rebuild all the AV industry that has been devastated during the floods. So when you go to avforvalencia.org, you can see that you can help individuals, families, with one of the charities that I mentioned before, or you can, as a company, sponsor the AV for Valencia movement, and your donation will be used to rebuild or help companies that has been devastated. After I create this, I received the support of the local Spanish and manufacturers and distributors associations, AFIAL, but also now I got, this morning I got the news that Musica, which is an association that is involved in the music industry, helping musical instrument manufacturers, that Valencia has a lot of musical instrument manufacturers and music shops, that they want also to be part of this project. So they are also trying to help. So what I'm trying to get is, first, coordinated help. I mean, in the pandemic, we saw that many people go in different directions trying to help, and nobody was coordinating them. So I'm trying to unite all the industry, also from the music, and because historically, all the sound and lighting companies, we have a very close related history from music. And all the, so unite all the AV industry and music industry, and coordinate all these help. So, for example, if there is a rental company that they need equipment, and there is a company outside Valencia that they can loan or they can donate equipment, we can coordinate this inside the platform. So it's not only about money, it's also about other kind of things, anything that we can make to rebuild the industry and get back to normal, which this now is kind of a utopia at this moment. But we will try to help as much as we can.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear that it's really seems like it's building momentum, not just in the AV industry, but with other adjacent industries as well. When someone makes a donation, where does that money go? I know that you talked about kind of coordinating resources, which is also wonderful to hear, but is it meeting kind of basic needs, or is it just trying to help people kind of rebuild their businesses? Talk to me a little bit about where that money is used when someone donates.
Okay, so as I said, when you go to the avforvalencia.org, you have two ways to donate. One is donate as an individual for helping individuals. In this donation, we'll go to a charity called Casa Caridad. Casa Caridad Valencia is a charity that helps families with big problems, big economic problems, and because these kind of families were poor already, they were living near the river that has been has created all the flood. So they have the people who survived to this lost everything, and they don't have any resource in the bank accounts or whatever to rebuild their life. No, so we are through this charity, we are helping. We are focusing on this kind of people, the people who need most. And then the other way is for the rebuild industry. So there is another way which is sponsoring the AV for Valencia. What we are giving to companies is two kinds of sponsoring. One is we call silver, which is from 600 euros. And then we can gold donations from 1,000 euros. And these are dedicated to companies who want to donate. They will receive in return a logo presence in the AV for Valencia telling that this company is helping us. And we will use that money from the sponsor companies to rebuild the industry, so to help businesses. And also there are other kind of entities like the AFIAL Association or Comusic Association that they will be as a cooperating entities. What they are giving us is manpower. This means people who make their time, who give their time to coordinate, to solve problems, to meet with other entities, and we are trying to because this I started alone, but it's obvious that alone I cannot do nothing, no, or I can do not much, no. So they are helping, and we are now making a bigger team to invest our time to make all this coordination.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you and everyone associated with it for getting this up and running. I mean, you just mentioned it's only been 25 days as of the time that we were recording this. You've been able to get all this up and running. Really, really glad to hear that there are ways for people who want to get involved to be able to support, have those opportunities. One last one that we wanted to touch on before we wrap up is Bike Fest. This is something that has been happening the last few years, I believe, leading up to ISE. Talk to us a little bit about the ways that Bike Fest is going to be supporting recovery efforts as well.
Bike Fest traditionally has been raising funds for a charity of our industry called Backup, which is based in the UK. And when the floods happen, the Backup team immediately react to that and say, "Hey, Juan, and this year we are also giving the half of the funds to the people who is suffering in Valencia." So we, after they offered this to us, we immediately accepted, of course. And this year, for the first time, we are splitting the funds between Backup and AV for Valencia.
That's wonderful. And will the Bike Fest, I don't know if the path has been decided yet, but has it traditionally started in Valencia and made its way up to Barcelona, or what does that look like?
Yeah, Bike Fest, as the name and charity ride, born in London with the Plaza We Make Events team. And then when the pandemic, I was the representative of the We Make Events movement in Spain. And when the ISE came to Barcelona, well, my father and myself, we are cyclists from all the time, as I remind, and I said to my father, "Hey, will be great if we go in by our bikes to Barcelona." And then I shared this with the We Make Events team, and they are as optimistic as I am, so they immediately say, "Hey, why we don't organize this as a new Bike Fest Spain?" No, so one of the intentions when I did that and when I proposed that to them, it was to give visibility also to my city, Valencia. I must say that Valencia city is in perfect condition, so I don't want people to stop to come and see my lovely city, because the city has not any problem. There was no flood in the city of Valencia. What has been flooded is the south metropolitan area of Valencia, which is not in the city. So if you want to see Valencia, Valencia is enjoyable as before, and one of the reasons of the Bike Fest in that time was to give visibility to my city, because sometimes people, when visit Spain, they only know Barcelona and Madrid and maybe Seville, and people who has visited Valencia, they know that they were missing a very nice part of Spain.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Well, I'm so glad that we were able to help, at least in a small way, by just putting a spotlight on the situation. We really hope that people continue to donate not only their time, but their energy as well to recovery efforts. We are going to provide links to everything. Check the description in this video, whether it's you are interested in donating or you're even interested in participating in Bike Fest. All right, I believe that anyone who is interested is able to join and ride from Valencia to Barcelona before ISE. So we'll provide links to everything and hope that we can continue to support you, Juanjo, and the community of Valencia as you continue to deal with this. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us about it. Really looking forward to being able to see you in Barcelona soon, and definitely our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who has been impacted by this situation.
Well, thank you to you. I really, really appreciate a lot that AVIXA, you, Mark, and AVIXA is giving us that visibility. Also, I want to thank AVIXA to be a headline sponsor of the Bike Fest. And, well, I only have words of thanks to all of you, because you are giving me a lot with this kind of things like the podcast we are doing today.
Yeah, well, we're grateful to have partners like you on the ground who are able to help coordinate the recovery effort and to update the rest of the world on the situation there. So definitely continue. If anyone is interested as well, highly recommend following Juanjo on LinkedIn. He's always consistently updating us on the situation there. And so would highly recommend that, as well as, like I said, check out all the links that we'll be providing if you'd be interested in participating in the relief effort. So Juan Ho, continued, just like I said, thoughts and prayers with everyone there. All the best to you, and hope that the city of Valencia continues to recover from this devastation.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Well, I'm here today with Laura Frank, and she is the Executive Director of Framework. Laura, how are you doing today?
Excellent. Great to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well, Laura. So let's kick this off by talking a little bit about you. Laura, if you can tell me a little bit about what you do as the Executive Director of Framework, that would be awesome for the viewers and listeners at home to know a little bit about Laura.
Thank you for that. Framework is one of the hats I wear on my day-to-day. As a professional society and nonprofit, we are an all-volunteer organization. So that really doesn't get me through, life. But it is a passion project. We've been building this professional society for 5 years now, and I call it the home of live pixel people. And what we mean by that very shorthand reference term is we are the home of people who generate content, pixel content for a live audience, or generate media live for camera or installation. So within that group, we are trying to bring together the artists, engineers, and producers who work in these spaces. So if you are a screens producer for a multi-camera broadcast event, which is where I built my career for the most part, or you are a content creator for the Screens in a Rock tour, you are a video artist who builds immersive installations, or you are a film director of photography who works in volumes. We are the entity that wants to bring all these people together to really inform each other, our clients, and the next generation about the tools we use, the processes we make to be successful in our work, and how we see the future of our work. So we are in the most basic form, we are a community organization that is designed to bring us together to communicate these ideas and learn from each other.
Hey, I'm all about that learning. So any opportunity to learn about all the cool different verticals that you just mentioned, I think is great for not only someone like me, but I think someone who is looking for a career in this area, or trying like an opportunity to get involved with this. So I guess that kind of ties in with like the different verticals that you mentioned, like lighting and screens and stuff like that. So you've had a remarkable journey from lighting programming to screen production and media operations, right? So how has your technical expertise evolved with the industry shift from lighting to video content? And with that in mind, what has been the most significant technological advancements in that transition?
You have a couple hours?
Yes, let's go.
It's a pretty dense question, and I think you have to look at it in layers. If you look at the 30 years, let's just face it, it's been 30 years of a career that started at a cutting edge development in lighting technology. My career really starts with the evolution of moving lights. Now, at that time, there were a few companies that had robotic lighting systems. They were inventing the control language for these systems as they were designing the lights. And these were very closed entities because they were building a lot of intellectual property and developing basically new workflows around this paradigm of what does it mean to have animated lights in your visual stage show, in your visual stage design. So from there, learning about show control, understanding what it meant to animate in real time, lighting was actually a small puzzle to solve, so that when media servers came into the scene, and now we're talking like early 2000s, and the control structures that had been developed to operate these animation points for moving lights suddenly had real value in controlling video playback. And so early video playback for these live spaces is not your traditional like instant replay for sports or package playback for an award show. This is this is content design in real time. So we might take like an ArtBeats catalog and play the frames randomly or play them backwards or mix them together. And so we needed a new control paradigm that we borrowed from moving lights to now apply to video playback so we could animate in this space in real time. And over the past 20 years, now we're talking about, as the video environments of these stage designs became more sophisticated and content design for these environments became more sophisticated, we needed very advanced media servers that pretty much outperformed some of these control surfaces. So we advanced the ways we dealt with timeline playback. And I could go into a whole discourse about how we deal with time in video playback, which is a very linear type of timeline. But from the lighting world, we have a stacked sense of time where you stack an order of operations. And so media servers had to operate in these two paradigms, whether time was linear, time was randomized, is it horizontal, is it vertical? Like, you're talking about a community of people that exists in all of these spaces, trying to understand how to respond to live entertainment production design with these incredibly advanced tools to serve a lot of these different needs. So we are in the era of now real time. And in this world, we are generating pixels in real time. We are trying to remind people we've been generating pixels for decades. And so when we say generative, we don't always mean AI, but people want to talk about AI now. What does it mean to insert AI into that conversation? What's happening to entertainment production? Are we moving back to live audience? What's happening in the film industry? I don't have these answers, but we can sit here and pontificate about it for a while, because I think these are really rich topics and topics that people want to understand what's coming in the future.
Absolutely. And you mentioned real time, right? Real time seems to be kind of like the big point of the conversation here, like things happening as it happens. So I'm actually curious to hear what you're thinking about the process, right? What are some of the challenges and opportunities in working with real time technologies? And when we're talking, you mentioned this right here. It's a big point of conversation right now, and that is AI, right?
Yeah.
Because if you think about how AI is being applied in a lot of technologies, it's basically generating things in real time, right?
Yeah.
Getting something through the network and just having it like punch it out. So, thinking about the process and all of that, like what are some challenges and potential opportunities with real-time technologies, and where does AI play into it?
So let's talk about the challenges first, because these challenges predate AI, and I don't think they've gone away. Client education is one of the big mission cores of Framework and our existence. So people, when they say real time, sometimes what they mean is delayed decision-making. So if I understand I have a real-time generative system, that means my creative process often gets delayed or restructured because there is a leadership misunderstanding that real-time means decide on site. And our community, we argue that if you're using After Effects or you're using Notch, which is a real-time engine, you still need a production design process. You need to prepare your real-time system to respond as best as possible in the environment. Because if I show up on site and the expectation is build anything, it's not going to happen in real time. We need the same production principles, design principles to get ourselves to a situation where I'm responding in real time around some kind of architecture. And that architecture is, say, a node graph in Notch, or a world I've built in Unreal that can then take those data inputs, and we've defined them ahead of time, and respond to them in real time. So that's the first challenge. I think that's still a major issue. The second challenge is what information is real time. I think the whole community, as a creative community, is on a path and a journey to learn the language of software development. Now that we're defining variables and learning how to architect them into our creative solutions, we need to understand and think of ourselves as software development and what those impacts are and how our teams are structured to think like software developers. So I see that in our future. And I think we have to have a conversation about time, because the visuals are not the only thing happening in real time. The structure of the show itself can also be governed by interactive time choices. For example, I just built a project at the Portland International Airport where we do not have a run of show. We have events that can be triggered, and they are all different environments, what we consider cues in that space, or events on the timeline. But our timeline expands and contracts based on TSA wait time. So show control can be generative or logic-based or procedural. And we have to now factor in, it's not just the visuals we want to be interactive or real time or respond to their environment. We want the actual experience of the show to be responsive to the people who inhabit that space. And we need a logic structure that can respond to that. So I personally see a future where our control surfaces have to, in themselves, be some kind of node graph where we can have logic come in and define what is our next cue? What is the next event in this space? How do we have show environments as well as visuals that really respond to the people in that space?
So taking a step back and thinking about the people behind the technology, right? One of the things that you mentioned are the people behind it. So the creatives, the technologists, and all of that. And you're passionate in thinking about getting, people who are interested in the work, getting this type of work in the potential workforce, if you will. You're passionate about getting this mentorship and fostering different collaboration between all these creatives and technologists. And so how do you encourage this balance on projects, and what advice do you have for aspiring professionals who are trying to navigate this world of creativity and technical types of work?
Yes. There are a couple of things we could talk about in that. First of all, the mentorship piece. If you are coming into this industry, the entertainment technology industry, 20, 30 years ago, the advanced technology platforms were pretty limited. If you found your way into a production team, as an intern, as an apprentice, as, low person on the totem pole, and you were looking out at the landscape of entertainment technologies ahead of you, the most sophisticated things in the room were the sound console, the lighting console, and the scenic automation console. When you look at that landscape now, it is so broad and deep that, there's a kind of quip people make when you're coming in, sink or swim, right? You come in, you figure it out, there's an expectation, you will contribute to a production team by just spotting what's wrong and jumping in and solving problems. And that's how you get known, and that's how you establish yourself in your career. My point, and what I'm trying to get my framework community to understand, is sink or swim is resulting in sink more often than it's resulting in true collaborators and new professionals. The depth of technologies are overwhelming. If you come into this community and I need someone who understands 3D modeling or entertainment networking, all the different tools, hardware, software suites, it's too much to learn. And new professionals are coming in and saying, where should I apply my efforts in learning these tools? And we, as the professionals with experience, have to mentor that next generation. I often tell people, learn Blender. No matter what you end up doing, Blender is a basic core knowledge that you can learn to apply anywhere. But you need some place to comfortably start that has a low cost of entry, and the skills you learn can have a vast number of applications. But we have to guide, right? So I might be able to say to someone, learn Blender, but then they show up with maybe rock solid Blender skills. They can build anything in that 3D tool possible. How do you apply that to a film production? How do you apply that to a corporate show or an art installation? It's not just the skill, that's valuable to the community, it's understanding the culture that skill will be applied in. And that's where the mentorship piece really comes in. We have to say that knowledge base, we use it this way for rock tours. Show me, and guide that process. So, it makes sense. We have to be shepherds in our own way to new community members, what we're doing in these spaces, how the technology gets used. So that's the first piece. What the second piece is, as I talk to young people coming into the community, we have a generation of AI natives, or nearly AI natives, and that will only continue to amplify as we move forward. My point of view is that I was concerned for this group. They must be very nervous about what AI means in this future. Are they going to be displaced? And what I find instead is that young people are very excited to use AI, right? They naturally see it as a collaboration tool. And I think that's a lesson that we can adopt in the more mature community working, that we need to see AI as part of our tool set. It is a collaboration amplifier. And from my point of view, it's actually going to improve communication across all teams. If I can iterate quickly and be clearer in my goals, whether it's a design goal or a process goal, if I can use AI to iterate and better describe my end goal to the people I work with, I want to use that tool and then I'll apply it to human creativity or human labor. So I personally am very excited about these tools. I use them every day, and I think we are going to be bringing in a new professional community that feels very comfortable sharing the space with these collaborators, digital collaborators.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a very good point about like how we need to build towards using, AI as a tool, right? Because like a lot of people are thinking, hey, AI is going to take my job. I don't know what to do. But I think if we take a step back and say, this is actually going to help us, it's going to help us be like more punctual, more timely, and like help complement our skills and knowledge. I think that's just going to make everything better at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely. If I spend time with an LLM and craft a prompt that is very clear, that produces the results I want, that prompt can apply to the LLM or can be shared with my, human partners. And I think the kind of clarity that we are learning to craft in prompt engineering is actually better served in communicating with our human collaborators, because we're forcing ourselves to learn how to have that kind of clarity that often in creative communication is lost. If I come to an LLM and say, write me an essay about networking of, a 30,000 pixel wide screen, I might get some stuff. But if I describe the environment I'm working in, my particular goals, so that the LLM produces a rich document for me, I can share that prompt and the result with my team and say, okay, here's our starting point. How do we actually flesh this out and make it a workflow that makes sense to everyone on the team?
That's a fantastic point right there. So I guess to wrap everything up, bringing everything together, the components, the people behind it, the skills, and then the technology. Laura, as you as someone who's deeply embedded in the evolution of the entertainment technology, what are some of the emerging trends or skills necessary that's going to define what it is to be a media operator or a content producer moving forward?
We've kind of touched on a lot of those. I think my short list is get comfortable with software development or the language of software development, so you can communicate with developers on your team, because that's what we need to adapt, whether you're on the creative or the technology side. So that would be number one. Number two, I think everyone should practice prompt engineering and get familiar, maybe build their own agent, take a class, do something so they're very comfortable with communicating with LLMs. And I think the final thing would be to anticipate that our show control and process control for all the entertainment technology tools that we use currently are going to be working under kind of a super controller layer. And those are going to be tools that allow logic-based decisions in our show control structures. So I think the entertainment technology landscape is pretty rich when it comes to real-time solutions, playback solutions. Some of those solutions are actually simplifying and becoming more narrow to solve certain tasks very well. But I think that super layer where we have logic-based procedural control of all these systems to real-time develop or expand our show control infrastructure, I think that's where a lot of this is going to be going. And it's something I'm personally very excited to see develop.
Well, Laura, I can tell you that I'm excited to see it as well. Being in the content production side, it's really cool to see a lot of these technologies come together. So, Laura, thank you again for joining us today. If we were to find you on social media like LinkedIn or something, where can we find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Laura D. Frank. You can look for Framework online at framework.video. And then my technical production consulting services is at integrationtech.video.
Awesome. Well, Laura, thank you again for joining us today. And we hope you have a great one.
Thanks a lot. It's great talking with you guys.
Great talking with you too. Take care.
Well, those were both great interviews. Special shout out again to Noreen and to Mark for doing such a great job, and to our guests. So, well, I think, is this our last episode for the year?
I think it is. So we're going to be back on the 9th of January for our next episode. So until then, just want to wish, well, first of all our listeners, all our viewers, a very happy holiday season and a happy new year. Sam, same to you, and also to all of our colleagues here at AVIXA TV who make all those amazing interviews happen. And we look forward to seeing you in the new year.
Absolutely. So everyone, take care, happy holidays, and have a wonderful new year. We'll see you back in January.
Bye.
Bye.